Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ruth on Demand. All right. So, are you finding that your business is not as profitable as you'd like it to be? Are you finding that it's not profitable at all? You're just basically bringing money in and it goes out the door with just the expenses of the business or investing in the business back into it, and there's just really nothing left. So this usually means, from my perspective, when I work with clients, there's a gap between you and your profitability. And you've got to know what that gap is, because if you don't know what the gap is, then you can't do anything about it, right? So that gap is your genius zone. And your genius zone is what you're passionate about. Your genius zone, things come so easily to you. That's why when you're in your genius zone, things flow. You can do something and you can spend an hour and a half and it seems like, wow. We often say we were in the zone. And in order to be in the zone, you're also utilizing what you're good at, what you're an expert at, what you enjoy. You'll find that when you're happiest, you are in the zone. You're using your genius zone in your business. It is when you're working in your genius zone, then you find that your values are in alignment with what you're doing. It puts you again in a better mood. Most recently, I was talking to a client who had sold his previous business and now he's doing things completely unrelated to what he was doing in Manhattan at first. And he is loving it. And I got on the phone and I go, wow, John, you sound like you're in a really good mood. And that's because he's in his genius zone. He's doing things that he's wanted to do for a long time. Those things he enjoyed as a younger person. But for different reasons, he went a different route. And it wasn't his genius zone. It was kind of like a push every morning. Even though he did well, it was a push. So we don't want it to be a push. So you want to work in your genius zone and you want to work on your business, right? All right. So, how do you start to reconnect with your genius zone? And the second question I'm going to bring up is, what are some things that you can start doing to bring out your genius zone? How can you even use that in your business? So let's start with the first. How do you start to reconnect with your genius zone? Because most of us have disconnected to what we love to do. We've disconnected because someone said, oh, you can't make money at that. We've disconnected because it was just too easy. I'm not going to charge for this. This should be free. So this is how I start my clients off, and it's a beginning stage. And once you start with these 3 questions, then I can help you move forward and up level so that you start to have a profitable business. So the first question I want you to answer is, what did you enjoy doing when you were younger? So what I want you to do is I want you to think of it this way. And if you want a download on this, just put in the comments download and we'll send it to you. So there's 3 columns, okay? The first column is the question, what did you do that you loved to do when you were younger, all right? So you're going to put down all the things. I loved to talk to anybody. I would get in trouble. I got in trouble in grammar school. I got C's in conduct, but I got A's and B's in my schoolwork. When I was really young, my parents were always concerned. They were pulling me away, could walk, and I would start talking. And even to this, when my kids were living at home, or even today when they come and visit, I'll be someplace and they go, Mom, you know them. Or I'll be somewhere and I just start a conversation. That started so early. And where does that fit into my genius zone? I love to speak. I love to train. I love to coach. The other thing I loved as a young person is I love to hear stories. I loved it. My parents were from Europe and they would always tell stories, and I found it fascinating. And so how does that show up today with my Genius Zone? Because I'm always asking people about their story, how they got started. I'm always helping people write their story. Um, whether it's in a book or in a speech or in messaging. What else did I love to do? Oh, I loved to dance. Loved to dance. Um, Boy, you put on music, and I don't know, I don't care how tired I am, but when the music starts, I'm up and dancing for hours. And how does that show up in my business? Well, when I have live events, we take breaks, but our breaks are dancing breaks. I hope I don't scare you off. I have a live event 3-day coming up in October where I'm going to have literary agents there on a panel, podcast hosts, the media, and you're going to be able to meet with them and hear what they're looking for. So don't get scared, but we during our breaks, we there's a lot of really awesome music, and you just can't help but dance or at least move your hips. Um, and then, so what? Right there. So the second question is basically, what's holding you back? Okay. So let's say that you are an artist of some sort, but you heard when you were younger, oh, you can't make a living doing that. You have to be in engineering or in technology or in science or in a profession or in a specialized welding and architecture, construction. Otherwise, you're not going to make any money. So, what's holding you back? Did you hear any of that? And who is that coming from? Usually, it's coming from a parent or a grandparent, not because they're not nice, not because they want to derail you, but they want the best for you, and they want to make sure that you're going to have a career where you're able to take care of yourself and your family. So again, how are you holding yourself back? What are you saying to yourself? What are some things, maybe some self-doubts? This is huge with self-doubt. So dancing, for example, that is not something that I'm going to do. It's not my really that I'm going to actually teach people to dance, although I did teach some students how to dance when we put together a live play. But again, that was volunteering. So how does dancing show up today? I shared with you during the live event, and it became an avocation for me. So I was in 42nd Street as a dancer and a singer. I was in Anything Goes. I was in Some Like It Hot. And I mean to tell you, I was in such a good mood when I was able to utilize pieces of my Genius Zone. And that's, it doesn't have to be necessarily your vocation. It can be your avocation or parts of it. All right. I think it's really important to remember that. And how are you taking ownership of the answers to these questions? How are you owning that? Are you accepting the reality of it? Is it hard to really believe? Are you looking at excuses? Well, I couldn't do that because XYZ, and that's okay. But just take ownership of the excuses. All right. Okay. And then secondly, um, what are 3 things that can exhibit your Genius Zone? One is write a book, particularly a nonfiction book, because no matter what industry you're in, it doesn't matter, but writing a book will start to share your Genius Zone. And when you're in that Genius Zone and you're sharing that information, expertise, stories in your industry, you're going to get into it. And when someone reads it, they're going to want to work with you. Another way to be able to exhibit, to show your genius, is to give a speech. Think of topics that you could talk about for a long, long time. And those are the topics that will start to craft your speeches and have them relate to your business. What parts of your business do you want people to really know about? That, man, it's important. You talk about this all the time. What are the questions that your ideal clients ask you before they come on board? What are the situations and experiences that your existing clients, I don't care if you're a lawyer, a doctor, an Indian chief, a teacher, what are the questions? And then respond to that. Which ones just really light you up that you can share? And then the third way to share your genius is through captivating storytelling. um, Everyone loves to hear a good story. I mean, look on television and these series. I've become addicted to Suits lately. So if you follow me on YouTube, you just kind of follow where I get addicted on the series. And they tell stories. It's captivating storytelling. And then I know now when it's going to end, because it ends on a, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? It's captivating. People want to know that. So, those are the three ways that you can really get into your genius zone and show the world and have your genius do the heavy lifting for you through writing a book, through speeches, and through captivating storytelling. So, again, if you'd like that download that gets you started on how to start connecting or reconnecting with to your genius zone, say that 3 times in a row. Just put genius zone in the comments and we'll get that out to you. Until next time.